Hey, hello, what's going on, guys? We had episode number 25 of Marvel Yap today. It's going to be an absolute verified banger. We're going to be talking about the compensation that we should be getting potentially today, or at least at some point this week. We're going to be talking about the submitted OTA predictions or requests that you guys submitted to us down in Discord or on Twitter. Those links also will be down below if you guys want to do that in the future. We're also doing some snap reverse cards. If they were to be put back to their original abilities, cost, and power, would they be relevant in today's meta? Would they be good in today's meta? Or would they still be overpowered? We're also going to be talking about Ares. We got 2 decks to show you guys that'll also be down in the description below, but let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, we're joined with the hostest with the mostest, notmydance. How are we doing today, Dance?
Doing absolutely amazing, Tuck. It's going to be a fun one. I'm excited about this. There's been some... Last time when we talked, it was kind of on a bit of a, not a sour note, but it was a downer note. It's been called the blip, right? The blip happened in Marvel Snap.
Yes.
And we didn't really know anything that was going to be happening. We had no idea, and we just kind of were like, let's talk about the hopeful future and see what happens here. And we now are in said future. Future feels a lot more hopeful. A lot of other things are happening. I'm excited about this. How are you feeling?
Man, I think you hit it right on the noggin there. Like, it really felt like a very down period for Snap. Like, I don't know if a necessary down period for Snap, because what came up because of it, which is one of our topics for today. We have 3 topics today, of course. We have compensation, community OTA. We asked you guys on Twitter, X, and in our Discords, which also will be down in the description below if you guys do want to connect with us. This is something we're going to be doing more of in the future. Not every week, but definitely something we're going to be doing more of in the future. And then we're also going to be talking about Snap Reverse. If these cards were to be reverted, how would we feel about that? And we also want to let you guys know down below. Please let us know what you guys think about these OTA ideas, any of these cards being reversed, and any questions you have for us as well. But yeah, it was a very, very interesting couple of days. But I think we've got to just start headed into the right direction here, as my words kind of slur, but, No,
I feel like we talked about this a bit ago where we said Second Dinner doesn't know how to capitalize on the wins or capitalize on these good things. And I really feel like they really capitalized on the blip, this downtime, and really turned this negative situation into a positive in a lot of different ways. But I mean, how was your weekend before we even hit that, right? Like, what'd you do other than that? Like, I guess last week, what have you been doing? Maybe with Snap, maybe not Snap, and what's been going on with you?
So honestly, like, I haven't been playing a lot of Snap still, but I have genuinely enjoyed Bullseye more than I thought I would enjoy Bullseye.
Right? So when we talked about it last week, we made just one deck with him, and we were like, this is it. Like, we didn't have anything else. They were like, yeah, this is probably all y'all can do with him. And I'm so annoyed with myself that I didn't think of Dakin, and other community people did. Oh my gosh, yeah, this card, I feel like we just completely underrated this card. Didn't talk about enough of maybe not even underrated, but we just didn't give it the justice it deserves.
Yes. And it's not that it's like a crazy good or amazing card, but it does what it does really well, and it's just another great enabler that kind of gives discard a couple more options opposed to what it had currently.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of discard decks were actually leaning away from Swarm.
Yep.
And I think it just kind of felt like more and more like those weren't the bonus, the big power slam you can do typically with that deck, because you can get better power from smaller cards like Meek, like Scorn. But Bullseye really just put that style of the deck back on the map, and kind of is giving, and the more discard cards we see, the more ways the deck can kind of branch out and do different stuff. So I've really been enjoying that. I think it's really cool to see. It's been different stuff. But I will say, before we even talk about everything else that we actually have planned today, I had some, I also something else, Tucker. I had a lot of work, a lot of stuff I had to take care of yesterday. And I had a lot of free time during it. And I love to have stuff on while I work. Yesterday, I watched all 3 of the Sonic movies.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And what did you think?
The Okay, my first thought, and I know this maybe isn't the thing you want to hear, but it's genuinely my first thought. The animation quality continued to it. I don't even know if it continued. It started off poorly, but then the end of it got like the third one went to such a better level.
Yes, definitely.
Like, and I know it's probably not the first thing to think about, but I thought that was really cool because again, it really felt like. It made the characters felt realer and realer as you went on. Again, I'm not trying to say any spoilers for Sonic 3 as it just recently came out in the last few months. I'm not going to say anything else there.
Okay.
Specifically, but I did really like the movie. I will say, I skipped. There was I like with the humans were boring.
Yeah, they're just there to be there, just to show that you're in the human world, kind of thing.
It gives them a connection to reality, which is cool. But like, it's the difference between like Sonic's friends, you know, Tom, Donut Lord, and Granola. I don't remember what he called them, but them versus like Robotnik and Stone. Which is Stone a character inside of the games?
Yeah, there's like like they take a lot of pieces from the games to put them into the movies. So like Sonic 3 is based off of like Sonic Adventure 2, and they have like a lot of references to that, like with Easter eggs and stuff. And there's also like the Shadow game reference and stuff, without going into spoilers of that. But
Is there like a Knuckles TV show as well? I thought I heard something about that.
It's on Paramount Plus. I haven't watched it though.
I haven't either. I didn't have enough time yesterday. There are only 24 hours in a day, but I did. But like I said, I did watch all 3 of them yesterday. So the actual movies. I know we had talked about it in the past. I don't know if we talked about it on the Yap, but I thought I would tell you about that because I really enjoyed them. I thought that was a lot of fun. And the biggest thing, the only thing, I think I even mentioned this to you before, the only reason I decided I wanted to watch those movies is because I had seen the dance scene in the third one. And I'm not going to say anything else again until it's spoilers, but if you know what I'm talking about, I saw that recommended on my page 1,900 times, and I watched it every single time because it just looked so cool. And I was like, okay, how is this a thing? Why is this a thing? Fine, I'll figure out why it's a thing. I'll watch the whole thing to figure out exactly what's occurring on over here. It's a fun series of movies, and apparently there might already be a 4th one confirmed.
They might be doing another trilogy, but
a full trilogy again.
Yes, because there's so many games to base off of, and the way they leave off in some of these movies.
There's a lot of characters that they haven't hit. Obviously, at the end of each of them thus far, they've hinted at another character. And again, another character, so potentially stuff. I've heard a lot of potential things about that stuff, which I won't say anything else, obviously. But it's a fun series that I really did not expect to enjoy as much as I did. But it was genuinely just a fun series that I feel like it was just enjoyable. I don't know if I could say much like more for it. That's not a thing bad about it. It's just like it was enjoyable. I liked it. Yeah,
it keeps you really just entertained. It's not like the best trilogy you've ever seen, but I think it's one of the best video game adaptations.
I think.
Yeah,
I think entertaining is an amazing. Didn't also the third one like become one of Keanu's like best movies, something like that, like grossing or something?
Yeah, it surpassed also like Mufasa, like around the same opening weekend too.
Oh my, no way, Mufasa, that came out?
Yeah.
Just like Bullseye came out.
Pulling us back. Going back with Bullseye, there was a really cool deck that we weren't talking about on the app, but we saw floating around on Twitter/X, which was the Clog Bullseye list, which was really cool, using Debris and Falcon to enable Bullseye to go off by falconing your rocks that you had on the board back into your hand because they're 1-cost cards, and then you activate Bullseye, and then you can throw those out to afflict cards with negative power.
I hadn't seen that. That's so interesting.
So you put your final turn, maybe like you've debried your opponent's side, so you've been clogging. You have a hood on the board too. Then you falcon the hood back. Then you play your demon, of course, and then when you activate your Bullseye, it runs through all of those 1-cost cards in your hand. So then your hand's empty, and you don't have all that space on the board.
That's such a.
It's combo heavy as hell, but like it's still.
Bullseye is a very combo heavy card. I feel like in a lot of the lists people are playing with him, which is cool to see. Honestly, I think again, I think he's a really cool card. I think I really enjoyed him. I was really happy with him in general.
Yeah.
Just like your cats are extremely happy with you. I hadn't heard about that bullseye deck. That was a lot of fun. But no, I feel like, yeah, clogs are coming back a little bit, but I think that's a different conversation for now, because with everything else coming back, including Marvel Snap, they had a full announcement about compensation. They actually, like we talked about, they capitalized on this big situation occurring.
Yeah, this is the largest amount of compensation we have ever had in Snap, because they have separated, or they have parted ways with, I believe, ByteDance or Newverse, which was part of what got banned in the US. So now they're searching for another publisher to enable them to continue running Snap. And since they have parted ways, this package, you guys, not only is it just for people in the US, people that were not in the US also are getting compensation as well. Of course, more compensation in the US, since we were not able to play the game at all for multiple days, which is why the US is getting more compensation. They are being very generous.
Rest of the world
yes,
had to hear us whining.
They did, but they're being very generous, giving back to the rest of the world too. Like, that is still very generous by Second Dinner. And this compensation, you guys, if you guys have not heard about it, Dance, do you still have the math on it, or?
Yeah, so I did some rough math about this on stream when it was announced. But real quick, just so y'all know, all you audio listeners, for everyone in the U.S., before I break down the math, everyone in the U.S. is getting 2 spotlight keys. If you're over collection level 500, I'm talking about, and in the U.S. So there's technically 4 separate groups of compensation, one for the U.S. and one for the non-U.S. And then in subsections of those, one for collection level 500 and above, and one for collection level 500 and below. The only difference with the collection level bits are the fact that people who are lower collection level, they don't even have access to the shop yet. They can't buy Ultimate Variants Series 4 and 5 cards. So there's no they don't get anything if they were to receive the same compensation as everyone else. So that's the logic there, but let's actually talk about what each group gets, because that's a lot of stuff here. So if you're over collection level 500, and then again, in the US, you get 2 spotlight keys, 5,000 season pass XP, which I believe is just 5 levels, 4,150 credits, 6,200 collector tokens, 1,000 gold, 5 gold conquest tickets, 3 infinite conquest tickets, 4,000 conquest medals, 1 mystery variant, 6 premium mystery variants, 1 cosmic red border, 3 cosmic gold borders, and then 5 batches of 155 boosters for a random card.
This is amazing.
That's insane. That is an insane amount of compensation. And do you want to tell everyone the differences between this one and then the other ones, and then I'll break down the math, because I can yap out the math for a second, and I know I can.
So the difference between the over 500 collection level and less than 500 collection level, you can only get spotlight keys once you've reached 500 collection level. That's why spotlight keys are not included in this segment here, which includes 6 mystery series 3 cards, 5,000 season pass XP, just like the original, 7,150 credits, so an additional 3,000 credits, 1,000 gold, a mystery variant, 6 premium mystery variants, 1 cosmic red border, 3 cosmic gold borders, and the 5 batches of 155 random boosters.
Which is still a lot. Like the fact that you get 6 series 3 cards, and even more credits as like a bonus there. You don't get any conquest stuff, but again, that's like newer players. Again, I don't think they're worrying about that. This is just, it's so generous.
Yes.
And one of the nice things about this, and you'll as you're about to break down probably, is even the non-US players get it. And the differences between the US players and the non-US players is that the US players have a lot more focus on like visual stuff that they get. They get a bunch of visual cool little like extra variants, extra extra tickets, conquest or conquest medals, whatever they're called, right? Those things, not the actual stuff that is going to be a matter in terms of your progression. But everyone else across the world who at least is collection level 500 gets some pretty cool stuff.
Yep, they still get 2 spotlight keys as well, 3,000 collector's tokens, 1,500 credits, 1 mystery variant, 1 premium mystery variant, 1 cosmic gold border, 1 cosmic red border, and 3 batches of 155 boosters.
Yeah, it's honestly really solid. And then you're under collection level 500 across the US. It's not crazy, but it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's still actually still really good. No, never mind.
Yeah, it's still 6 mystery series 3 cards, just like the US did. 3,000 credits, 1 mystery variant, 1 premium mystery variant, 1 cosmic gold border, 1 cosmic red border, and 3 batches of 155 random boosters.
It's just so I am shocked and happy that they are giving away this much stuff. It's honestly amazing. And they specify in this article as well that you're not getting punished for getting one thing or another if you have like a VPN. It's anyone who was like, they had to at least be using the game for within the last 30 days before everything broke down. And they had to be created in the US or like based, I don't know, there's like a bunch of specific things here, but in general, I think basically your country of origin, and as long as you're playing in the last 30 days, you will be qualified for whatever selection of this stuff is, for your own account. Which I'm guessing for the most of, at least the US players, that is just going to be the big group of stuff here, which that's what I counted. I counted that stuff out. And the stuff that I had seen with this, and this is potentially a lot of napkin math, but I wrote this down, I counted it through, and I tried to lower my expectations. So this maybe it's worth more, maybe it's worth less, but simply put, I believe keys are worth $20 to $25 because of specific bundles that we've gotten where it's pretty much just the key.
So the value of keys have dropped from 50 to 25? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
So I went with 20. I'm trying to still aim a little bit lower because again, let's go with that. So we have 2 spotlight keys and I'm valuing each of those at $20. With 10k XP, with 5k XP, that is 5 levels. And at least in the past, you could pay $5 for 5 levels.
Okay.
Right. Or for 10 levels in terms of like getting the extra stuff on the season pass. So I went with that. So half of that's $2.50, $2 and $2.50. The credits are interesting because every 12 gold equals 15 credits, I believe. And then you have a very specific amount of credits here. And I think that equals $27.
Okay.
With the collector's tokens themselves, I think those are actually the closest in terms of like dollar amount to these, or maybe a cent. So I believe each token is worth a cent, each 100 is worth a buck, approximately, according to what Second Dinner said with their economy. I'm just going with basic on that, saying it's $62.
Okay.
The gold, 1,200 gold is at times in the past. I know the shop gives you like $20 in terms of getting gold, but they've had 4U bundles where they've gone a lot lower, and I went with the lower option, trying to give it more variety there. I believe it's only worth about $8. The gold. The gold conquest tickets, I think, are next to nothing. I didn't even count those. Infinity tickets. What is it? We had in the past. I'm going with this. In the Infinity tickets, we had a $5 bundle where you got 2 Infinity tickets. So $7.50 for 3. Conquest medals as well. I have no idea what they are, so I didn't do anything there. Each mystery variant is I went with $6 because it's 700 gold, I believe. I know you can get them for free from other stuff, but guess what? You can also get golds for free. So then at this point, they're only giving you stuff that you can get in the game for free. So don't argue that. Premium mystery variants. Those I think are the most expensive thing because those have gone to 1,200, and that's typically what they're selling at, 1,200 gold. Which again, if you're going into the equation that I already talked about earlier,
they've gone from 800 to 1,200.
Premium mystery.
Yeah, from in your shop, they went from 800 to 1,200.
You're right. They are 800 in there. Oh, look at that! I've already found an error in my plan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just actively. No, that's fine. That's 100% fine. Part of my math incorrectly, which means I actually believe this is closer to $36, 37, 30. I'm gonna go 40 because it's technically 6.66666. Each one is worth in terms of dollars.
Repeating.
So yes. So I'm just gonna say I believe 40 is a fair place for it to exist at. And then each border is worth 750 gold inside of the shop. And then you also have the random boosters. Cool. Again, there's some things I didn't even count there. But with all that in mind, I believe, and I even just did that change with what you just said, $215 worth of stuff.
Wow.
So I'm saying 200, trying to give myself even more wiggle room, but still, $200 worth of stuff is insane.
That's really good. And how many days were we out of Snap? 4 days, 5?
I don't even know if it was 5 days. It was meant. I know it's not up yet, right? It's still technically not up in the app stores, and they're working on that. But I think the game in total was only down for like, was it like 20?
It was more than 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm seeing this actually. I have it pulled up. It was just under 48 hours. So like so just under 2 days.
Okay.
2 days worth of Snap approximately, and they are giving approximately again $200 worth of stuff to US players at least.
Wow.
Yeah. So remember in the past, I talked about how I don't think Second Dinner knows how to capitalize on W's or like these big things. This is them taking Marvel Snap, which is being talked about in terms of like people that don't care about Marvel Snap knew about Marvel Snap because guess what? It got hit with the bigger name. It's famous by association because of TikTok getting banned. I have people who I play with who I have played other games with who don't know or care about Marvel Snap, and I could talk about it with them because they all of a sudden it had some recognition. So this big package is putting Marvel Snap on the map in another way, and that's really awesome.
Yeah, no, it was a great stepping stone and something that Second Dinner needed to do to capitalize on the game. Now we just hope that they continue to make some of these good steps, and maybe some of the way the economy is in the game is not Second Dinner's fault. Maybe it was New Verse's fault. So we got to kind of think about that perspectively too.
Yeah, we don't have any confirmation on that,
right.
But I will say, right on if you actually go to the marvelsnap.com, I believe it's /shop. I could be incorrect on the exact URL, but if you go to marvelsnap.com and go to the shop there, they are now doing daily draws in the Galactus offer, and that are giving more stuff than they were in the past.
Yep.
Because people can't buy anything on either the Apple or Google Play stores anymore. Because again, those apps aren't in the place, so they don't have a basis for that currency to go through.
Yeah.
So
big things maybe on the way. I'm excited.
Let's hope. I would love it if some big things happened, some big changes, some exciting stuff in the future. I'm hoping and I'm praying for it, and I'm praying personally for some cards to get some love.
Yeah, which like before we jump to the next segment, do we know when the next patch is?
So it was previously announced. I can pull this up. I swear I can pull this up. Okay, I swear I can pull this up. I believe it was previously announced to be in February. I don't remember.
Because I'm trying to pull it up right here too.
Was it so February 4th?
So next Tuesday is the next patch?
Potentially.
Which should be when we're also getting character mastery? Or so
right. Oh yeah. So that's also, I feel like they have to be up in the app stores as well by that point, which is an interesting question. We haven't heard an announcement about that yet. But they aren't up in the app store. And so are those even going to be available? Are we going to have anything?
Yeah, looking at the post from December, okay? All I see is patches for February, March. I also see OTAs scratched through.
Yeah, so there's a different one that posted at the beginning of this year. And that, because they updated it to make sure that the OTAs actually occurred on the, I believe, second and fourth Thursdays of the season.
Okay, good. So they have the update.
They try to go with.
So we do have an OTA for sure. Anyone who was guessing, we do have an OTA on Thursday this week, and we do still have the patch next week. Okay, this is very exciting.
Again, I will say I don't know if we want to say for sure because again,
but subject to change.
I think I'm like 90% confident at least in the OTA.
Okay.
And then like 80, 70 in terms of the actual patch because we just have to get a confirmation on that stuff until that occurs.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I going on that. So we that's currently how everything's currently looking in terms of Marvel Snap actually even being online and all that stuff working out. I'm still hopeful. I'm still excited. I love the stuff that Second Dinner has done. I love all these changes. I think in general, I want there to be good stuff, and I think they are working hard on being proactive in said changes.
Yeah, I agree. And said changes, we have some changes that you guys came up with that we are actually very, very excited to talk about as we move over to the community's OTA. And I'm telling you guys right now, we're starting off with a certified banger. So this over here is going to be from Toxic Soul King. Shout out to Toxic Soul King. Came up with an absolutely crazy idea that Dance was actually like, yo, this right here, let's freaking do it. If you want to tell what we think about this so far.
Yeah. So the suggestion was making her a 4/4, and her text is she steals the highest cost card.
Making who a 4/4?
Sorry, making White Queen a 4/4. My apologies, because she needs a change. But then what she says is she steals the highest cost card in your opponent's hand and replaces that card with a White Queen. So then the opponent still gets a chance to get that card back. That's a real... I think this idea is really fun.
Yeah, I think at a 4/4 is really interesting too. Like, you're getting the benefit of stealing a card from your opponent's hand, which we don't have a card that steals. We have a card that copies from your opponent's hand with Mirage, but we don't have a card that steals in said chance. And then
we have a location now with the peak that does that.
The peak does do that. That's true. So I'm wondering with this interaction, if you have Quinjet and you play this card out before your opponent can play their White Queen, then of course they can't steal anything back, but then they steal one of your cards, or I don't know what the token White Queen you get in your hand from this interaction. But I think that would be really cool because, you know, White Queen is also another like telepath that has, you know, telekinetic powers and stuff too. So it would be really cool to play on the character herself. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't know exactly what the stats would be for it, but I do like this ability idea a lot.
No, this in general, I think this is just a sick idea for an ability. I have no idea if it's balanced. Not going to pretend like I understand that, but I do think that as of now, she is one of the worst cards in the game, and it's a really cool idea, really cool change for her. I don't know if they will do it again. None of the stuff's obviously happening. This is community recommended. Y'all said what you want to see in terms of buffs and changes and nerfs and whatever. And this is definitely a really fun one to look at. If they did this, I would be so down. Again, it's a different card entirely, but I love that. I love it when they do a cool redesign, a cool rework that brings a card that was previously nigh but dead back into everyone's eyes.
Yeah, no, this is great. Absolutely love this. So we're starting off with an absolute banger over here.
Do you want to actually give like a like yay or nay in the end of these? I didn't ask before, but I just thought it. Do we want to say if we approve or disapprove? Because I feel like that's also just a fun, simple idea in order for y'all can know what we think just straight up. If you want a TLDR, I think we're both yay on this, right? This is just a
big thumbs up.
Wait, no, buy or bust. Which one is it for you? This is a buy.
This is a buy. This is a buy.
Yeah,
we buy this one.
The amount of people, unrelated, I know you do buy and bust. The amount of people I've seen on just online, it's like any two words that sound kind of similar about the new card. That one means positive, one means negative. Do you have a gripe or do you like anything that I haven't heard that one in particular, but I feel like I've seen so many of those about the new card.
Yeah.
Where it's just like any two words that kind of seem similar, and they're like, I'm not.
Well,
I don't want to say
about synergies, bro. So like it just makes sense.
No, it makes sense. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I just think it's funny how many of them there are out there. Sorry, we can go back into the actual stuff. That was a random tangent. I like to yap. Ooh, okay. So what do you think of this? Tell everyone what @BirdSnap said on Twitter.
Make Taskmaster only copy a card played last turn. Honestly, not a fan of this one. I think it's kind of similar to its text already, but like, I don't think Taskmaster is warranting this big of a change right now. I think Taskmaster is kind of okay as it is. Maybe they're seeing too much Mr. Negative right now, so they're just they hate that. But like,
if he was a 5/0, maybe I could see that still. But I think with this current version, I think this is, you just kind of kill the card, and I don't see a good reason for it. Like, even the decks that are bouncing the move cards, those don't even use Taskmaster anymore. The only ones really nowadays are those big combo decks with Mr. Negative.
Yep.
So it kind of just kills him there, and I don't see a good point in this one personally. I don't think he's an impressive card.
No, I think this is a bust. And
Yeah,
over
bust,
here.
100%. Yeah. Oh, look at that! Wow, crazy. Well, who's next though? Okay,
Next, we got Justin or Misato.
Yeah. So Justin had two different ones. I'll start us off. You finish it because.
Oh, well, because it's Luke Cage.
It's exactly definitely not just because of the order stuff, but what is it? As Justin said on Discord, beat to death, but just an idea about Luke Cage. A 3/2 ongoing. Your cards can't have negative power afflicted to them. Allows for power set via Valk or Antivenom to remain at whatever cost it was done at. And this would allow cards to still be taken down by Antivenom and then still be better for Valkyrie. I personally, I think I talked about this before already. I said that this is a place where I could easily see Luke Cage going because of just how many words that he currently stops. And undoes it, was it Steal and Afflict still work, but then I just think the set doesn't, and I honestly feel like that's the next place where it has to go. But if and when that happens, something else has to change, because then the Affliction deck I think becomes way too good, and they have to figure out something else there in order for in the same way that they brought US Agent and Luke Cage down in the same patch, they would have to figure out some other card in that Affliction deck, in my personal opinion, to bring down at the same time.
So, with this ongoing idea, though, if your cards can't have power negative of like afflicted negatively to them, wouldn't that make it so it doesn't make the Affliction deck too OP?
No, because what is it? You're nerfing the card, which means that the Affliction deck gets better. Because if you're nerfing your Luke Cage, the only thing it's stopping in that Luke Cage deck or in the Affliction deck right now would just be Antivenom. And then all the stuff that's still afflicting your cards on the board still gets to be incredibly oppressive.
So, like, if you have Luke Cage, Hazmat still wouldn't hit your side of the board, right?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't. But again, I think less people will run Luke Cage, which makes that deck better. And then people have to rerun more Luke Cage. In this, like, if you're bringing down the counter of a deck, even in a little bit, I think that you have to bring down the deck as well, so that both of them stay at around the same level of like, okay, yes, Luke Cage is being played less because in the most recent one, right? They nerfed Luke Cage down to a 3/3/2. And then they also nerfed US Agent's Affliction to only be -3 power instead of -4. At the same time, because they said explicitly that they didn't want there to be just a meta that was ruled because the counter to whatever this deck was got made or got brought down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I'm reading this as, like, your Antivenom, your card still has 0 power. So, like, whatever card, and, like, with Valkyrie, even if you just had a 6/10, like, let's say, Red Hulk, even with Luke Cage on the board, that becomes a 6/3. It doesn't maintain that 10 power at all.
Yeah. No, that doesn't... Yeah, no. I read that the same way, which also could be... We could also see, who is it? A Shadow King lose the word reset. It could just also be set, so then it's just a simple word for set, not stopping him.
Like, I don't think this puts Affliction over the top, because you still have Luke Cage as the counter. If you're seeing a lot of the Affliction, you're running Luke Cage in your deck to counter that, and it's still global.
Fair. Yeah, I could easily... I will very happily be wrong about that. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that bit, but in general, I'll say this personal one is a buy, right? This would be a buy in my personal opinion here. But the next one's interesting, Tuck.
I'm indifferent on the Luke Cage one. I needed to see it in action.
Okay, you're or. Got it.
Yeah, I'm or.
I'm buy, you're or, and no one's busting. I don't...
Okay, and Mantis, the Mantis buff that Justin is talking about over here is Mantis is a 1/2 on reveal. If your opponent played any card here this turn, copy it to your hand with -1 cost, minimum 1. Allows for Mantis to be a little more useful, especially as a Series 1 card, and with some of the Guardians seeing love semi-recently, it would be a welcome change. It isn't too OP for low ranks and allows some skill expression.
I In general, I think I like a Mantis buff. I feel like I like the idea of it being like a beast nerf rather than like a where it just until it costs one less next turn.
Yes, I like that.
I just think if you want to use it, you have to use it quickly. Otherwise, it just is going to be a card in your hand. I mean, that's just a simple change, and I think that's a fine one.
I think that's a buy too. Like, you still have to play it on the right lane your opponent played a card to be able to get that value. And I think Mantis literally is not relevant anywhere right now.
Nope, not in the slightest.
So that's going to be a buy for me.
Yeah, definitely buy. This is a buy, 100%. No, this would be a fun one. Yeah, I like this.
And then our next one over here.
Just want my boy Scar to go back to a 6'11", Scata says on Twitter. I mean, is Big Dumb Idiots that bad? I know we have Ares coming out this week, which we'll talk about later. But, like, is Big Dumb Idiots struggling that much, Tucker, that you think do you think Scar needs to get that extra point of power? What do you feel here?
I don't know if Scar needs that power just yet until after this week. Until we see what happens with Ares. I'm not opposed to this by any means. I'm interested just to see what happens. It'll be really interesting also because of now the Luke Cage interaction with Steel, of course, with like Scream on the board. It's interesting, but like even with like Cassandra Nova and like Silver Sable and stuff, like these 10 powered cards becoming 9 power, because we're probably going to see a lot of Cassandra Nova this next week to try and counter maybe some Ares stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a wait and see, I think, in my opinion here.
Yeah, that's a fair one. That's a really fair point. I think I agree with the waiting on this. Like, in general, like if you had asked me like 2 or 3 weeks ago, probably could have said yes. But I think with Ares about to come out, I don't feel confident in this.
Yes.
So I would want to wait. Honestly, I'm going to say it's a bust. I'd be willing to change to a buy in the future, but I'm going to say this would be personally a bust for me.
Okay. I probably am leaning more towards buy, but still, I'm heavily on the wait and see kind of situation.
Yeah. That's fair. I like that. I like that talk. Oh, no. Talk, what's being said by Kid Dynamite 408 on Twitter?
Kid Dynamite is saying, bring back OG Galactus. It's time to make them kneel again. I don't know if you guys remember OG Galactus. OG Galactus, you did not have to be winning your lane in order for Galactus to go off. It just had to be the only card on that lane in order for that interaction to happen.
Oh, God. No. Just no. This is no. I don't think that can exist. I don't believe OG Galactus can exist. That's so good. That is such a good card.
Well, there's no Spider-Man anymore. It would bring back Professor X. Potentially.
Are you selling me, or are you trying to dissuade me from this?
I'm just saying, like, it would bring back Professor X. We don't have the old oppressive Alioth anymore. It's still oppressive. Like, Alioth is still oppressive, yes, but it's not like completely kill your turn because, you know, you have priority kind of thing. But I do agree, in the current state of the game, it would be fun, but it wouldn't be like fun. Like, it'd be fun if you are playing Galactus. It's still anti-fun if you're not playing Galactus.
Yeah, it's fun to kick you in the nuts, but if I get kicked in the nuts, it hurts.
Yes. Yeah, no, this is a bust for me too. I see the reasoning, and I feel the pain, all the Galactus enjoyers, but like, I don't feel the pain enough to be like, yes, let's bring it back. No, this is definitely
honestly
a bust.
I forgot about this. I was playing a Galactus like Guardians deck.
Yes.
It's dumb, but actually using the Guardians with Galactus is kind of solid, because then what is it? If you get a way to like ramp it out early on, you can Galactus a lane, and then you throw down the final turn. You can play both Gamora and Rocket, and you're adding like, I believe it's like 18 power on the final turn.
It's like, yes, a lot, 17, 18, something like that.
I think it's fine that he is niche.
Yes,
I think Galactus meta sucks.
Yes, Galactus meta is anti-fun. But Kid Dynamite, kudos for the idea. I'm glad we have some.
I respect the cojones on saying it, at least.
Some fun there. Next, we have from Cypher.
Cypher on Discord said, I think Spider-Woman should get either a rework or an upgrade, either like into a destroy card, a better affliction, of stealing, or something, because she's been entirely power crept in terms of cost to effect ratio. Because lore-wise, apparently her bioelectricity is strong enough to kill a man, which is why I think destroy would fit her well. I mean, I also think that, what is it, like Cyclops's eye beams are enough to destroy someone, so, and he also just like kind of hits each person for one. I think that affliction's still fine. But I also believe that there's a very legitimate world where she could be a 5/6 and afflict all cards at her location with -2.
Oh my god. 5/6 afflict all cards. That just makes her a 5/8. Yeah, it makes her potentially a 5/14 instead of a 5/12.
But you know what is really interesting about 5-cost cards, Tucker? Did you know that there are more base 10 power cards in the 4-cost slot than there are in the 5-cost slot?
That's crazy. But the conditions are different. Like you have to meet in.
There are some conditions, yes, where you can do weird stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But straight up, if you're looking at power, vanilla power, there are more 10 power cards, 10 power plus cards in the 4-cost area than there are in the 5-cost.
But like in reference to Spider-Woman, right? She's a Series 1 card, right? When do you get Luke Cage?
I think he's Series 3. He's a card you get in Series 3.
I don't like the -2
like
affliction for her in Series 1 without Luke Cage, and you don't get Shadow King until Series 3 as well. She would become crazy with that.
Honestly, I think, I don't know, 5/5, 5/4. Something else, but I just think I like the -2 to cards, because at least at that point you're getting value in the card at least.
I think she's been crept in Series 3 play and above, but like there are certain cards that don't have to be playable at every single.
I wish they would be, though.
I mean, yes, I wish the new player experience would continue up until whenever, but like
that's fair. That's a fair one. So is this, personally, this is a buy for me. I like this idea. What is this for you?
I think this is a bust for me, unless you make her maybe like a 5/9. Like just give her an extra point of power or something.
I don't know if that'd be enough to fix her, but you know what? I respect the kindness.
Yeah, I don't think she needs to be like fixed. I think some of these other stuff we'll talk about later needs more adjusting before Spider-Woman. Just don't play Spider-Woman.
Honestly, fair point. Yeah. What? Speaking of later, what else we got here, Tuck?
Now we have the Rhino. Rhino needs a buff. Too bad for too long.
This is Series 2. This is not Series 1.
Yes.
This card. What do you feel about this? Because I actually have I have an idea I want. I think I feel like I mentioned it for Rhino before. I don't know, but I feel like I've mentioned it.
I don't hate this card getting a buff. What I like about this at a Series 2 is it still helps you kind of learn the whole location mitigation kind of aspect of Snap on, okay, well, this location's really benefiting my opponent. I'm just going to go ahead and destroy it. Like, this is a good card-generated card, or like something I got from a location, opposed to a card that I feel like is a necessity in a deck.
I didn't realize this. All of his variants are rare. He has no super rare, no limited time. Every one of his variants are rare.
I'm
not
surprised.
That's just an interesting, tidbit I just realized. But yeah, so what do you think? He's fine as is, or do you think he has what are you feeling about him?
I mean, like, you could buff this card, but like, unless you completely rework him, I don't think this card really needs a change. I think that it's just the love for the character. People want it to be changed, kind of thing.
Interesting. I personally do agree with this. I think that Rhino needs a buff, but I have one of two different ideas for it. One is, I think he goes down to it's actually technically a nerf. I think he should go down to 2 power. Maybe a 2/2. Because at least, because what is it? Cerebro, I want a Cerebro life back. And you make him a 2-cost, 2-power card, you find that deck has no location mitigation at this point.
I'd
other
be
than
cool
Nico,
with
which is
2-2
asterisk.
for I'm okay with him losing cost and power to, like you said, have location mitigation. I do actually like that more than him going to like a 3-4, like a 3-5.
No. I actually
Yeah.
don't think he gets a buff
No.
in power. I think he needs to be, his effect needs to just be brought down. Or also, I was gonna say, what if he's a Spider-Man villain? What if when you move him, he ruins the location?
Yeah. Either
Which also just seems cool.
or like even cooler.
Oh,
What if he had like a juggernaut kind of effect where it's like you can hit a card here, it's random, and like it moves a card to a random location and it afflicts -1 power because like he pierced you with his horn.
that's a sick ability that I don't think they're gonna put on a Series 2 card.
Yes, nothing they put on a Series 2 card, but I think it'd be pretty cool.
I agree. I 100% agree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So yes, we agree. We agree
Yes.
Rhino needs a buff.
Yes.
What that looks like, I think
Yeah.
it's a very different question.
I've been swayed.
Unfortunately.
I've been swayed.
Yes. No. Because, I mean, turning off locations are the thing that make Marvel Snap different.
Yes.
And so just removing that entirely, I think you have to have there has to be some sort of negative. You don't want that often. And so this
Yes.
is a card that Signature does not want to be broken.
Yep.
So either you, like I said, you make it a 2-2 so it doesn't happen a lot, but it can still happen, right? Or you just remove the ability because it's not one of the best ones.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And then next we have over here, if I can click on it correctly, holy moly.
Eric RBV on Twitter said, revert Hellcow back to discard 2 random cards or 2 different cost cards. Everything else is an utter disaster. The pun aside, amazing pun. What do you feel about Bessie? What do you think Bessie needs?
I like the idea of it being 2 different costs, looking at like the kind of Hela aspect there. Yes, it is another enabler for Hela in that sense. But even looking at the way Hela has been readjusted, she doesn't have above a 50% win rate right now. It's still like the RNG kind of lottery. But if you do bring it back to 2 random cards again, I think you have to nerf her power, like nerf Hellcow's power again. From the 4/7 to like a 4/4 or like a 4/3, something that I feel like can be either Red Guardian or even potentially like a Lady Deathstrike. It would just need another just counter to it. But I don't hate the idea, Swiftman.
I don't like this one, honestly, because as much as like, yes, I think Hellcow is not played as much. It is being played in Helidex currently, and I know it's not being played in other discard lists, but honestly, neither is Corvus Glaive. Neither is Swordmaster. And those cards are very specific in certain places. Even Silver Samurai is being played inside of Helidex right now. And I think, honestly, Hellcow is fine. Just knowing the fact that you can use Hellcow to discard a card that you know you're not going to use.
Yeah.
Because you activate it on the final turn. I think that is more than enough for the card to be fine as is. I don't personally want to see a lot more done to it.
That's fair. I think this is kind of similar, but like I'm interested to see cards like this in comparison when Red Wing comes out as sort of the way they enable like certain decks. I know it's completely different because this is a discard enabler and it specifically activates a discard, but I'm just thinking in the sense of like Red Wing's ability is whenever Red Wing moves, wherever Red Wing originally was, one of your cards in your hand gets played to that location. So
per data mines. Yeah,
per data mines, and warranted to change, which we'll of course maybe see in the dev video this upcoming weekend. But that's just a sidebar that just came to mind. But so is this a buy or a bust for you?
I think this is personally a bust. I know that Hellcow's not overpowered and not crazy right now, but honestly, I think good old Bessie's making her mark. I don't think she needs really much more.
Okay.
I think she's utterly fine.
I have been kind of swayed that I am busting on this one too. So
Tucker, I need to talk to you about the name of your buy or bust series. I think you need to change your name. Unfortunately, that's a different conversation. We'll have to talk about that later. I don't know.
And now, as we move on to the next one, of course. The next one is from B-Dog from Discord, which is Dance's favorite card in the game he's about to be talking about.
Oh, sorry. I'm saying it now. Sorry. Bruce Banner getting changed to when you spend a turn with unspent energy, 33% chance to Hulk out. Reason being, he's barely played in High Evo, and High Evo is barely even being played. Could see a bump, and that change could see a bump. Yeah. I think Bruce gets a buff. I honestly like him being a 1-0 if they do a buff.
If they do change this and make him a 1-0, like you said, yes.
If they keep him same power level, I do like the idea of it being increasing the chances.
Mm-hmm.
But with it always being a hidden thing that you never get to with Pokemon Pocket, right? When you flip a coin, you see it happen on screen.
Mm-hmm.
With Danger Room, when you go in there, you kind of just have to wait for the game to lag for it to be like, is it lagging out because it's about to generate this gun gonna kill my card or what is this? So with Bruce, I'm kind of the randomness makes me not want to do crazy things here, but at the same time, I do like him getting a buff. I just don't know if this is the buff that's best.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I want a Bruce Banner buff. I'll buy that. Whether or not this is a bust or not, I think I kind of trust. That's one that I think I just have no answer for.
Yeah, I think we're both leaning more towards buy, but it's another one of those we need to see in action kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like let me see this with my own peepers before I tell you whether or not I like this.
Yeah, shout out to you, B-Dog. Let's go. Oh. Hey. All right, and then moving on over to our next one over here. Here we go.
There's a lot of stuff in here, but we're just gonna focus. I think on the first one and I think the last one here because there's gonna be some other places where I think these are talked about.
Yeah, a lot of overlap.
There's gonna be a lot of overlap here, but the first one from Oratory James the Fourth, I believe, on Twitter. Miss Marvel's long overdue for a buff. When you're getting outclassed by Mr. Fantastic, you know you're in a terrible place. I've been getting outclassed by Mr. Fantastic in Marvel Rivals for a while, so I'm in a pretty terrible place apparently, Tucker. But
that's really bad if you're getting outclassed by Mr. Fantastic. But sorry, Sapper.
Dang. Okay, God. Okay, cool. Maybe feel worse. Yeah, I think she needs a buff. I think you give her as another point of power, or you do a similar thing to what they did with Mr. Fantastic, where you reduce her power and then give her more to put down on the adjacent lanes.
So, if you reduce her power, again, make her a 4-2.
Okay.
And then you remove the 2-card condition. Or even a 4-0.
I think 4-2 is better because the Ravonna stuff scares me too much there.
That's why I wanted 4-2. 4-2 makes her a 4-12, of course. 4-0 would make her a 4-10.
So what if it was just is there a world where it could be like a 4-2 and then it gives +6 or +7?
Or actually, scratch that. What if it's not +5 anymore? What if she is a 4-2 +4 to the other locations instead, and you remove the condition instead?
Well, she's currently 4-4 +5 to the other locations. Oh,
yes.
But there's no condition at all?
But there's no condition at all at a 4-2 +4. So right now she's a 4-14. You remove the condition, she becomes a 4-10.
That's interesting. I like that change, but I don't like that it kind of I like the deck building. I like the thinking you have to do. And I know it's not a card that we're seeing a lot of anymore. But I think taking that away feels worse to me.
Okay. So then what if if you make the condition better, like what I said right there, I'm literally just making a 4-cost Mr. Fantastic, which is just boring, because you already have that card in the game. But if you keep the condition as is, right? Like you're saying, if you do buff Miss Marvel and you do make her the way she is 4-4 +6 to the other locations, but you do have to meet the 2-card quota.
On it, it makes her 16. I think, 4-2 plus 6. It actually nerfs her total power a little bit.
I was saying 4-4 plus 6.
4-4 plus 6.
Or 4-3 plus 6. Then she's a 4-15 again.
Yeah. I like it, but I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say I buy a buff.
Mm-hmm.
But God, there's so many of these that I'm like, I like this, and maybe I feel like it's okay, but also I'm so scared to say yes because I imagine a world where that happens, and then all of a sudden the card's just the best thing you put in every single deck again. So, I mean, yes, I want that. God, I don't know.
What if? What if? Okay.
Okay.
She's a 4-4. Give a random card at the adjacent locations +5 power. Activate. Or +3 power. A random card. So it's like, I know it's weird, but like if you think about from the movie or you think about from the show, she can generate kind of like shield-like things. So in a sense, you're giving a random card the extra power on both locations. Maybe it's a 4-5 +3 power to a random card on adjacent locations.
Actually, that's an interesting one. What is it? I don't mind that. What if it's, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, it's such a long ability. You make it a 4-2 ongoing. Your adjacent, your cards at adjacent locations with +2 cards and no repeated costs have +2 power.
That'd be cool. And then you literally have to combo like building up that lane. So like you could have 4 cards getting +2 power from Miss Marvel, but they all have to have different costs. I like that.
The cards themselves get the cost buff,
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
that, because then it actually like it rewards you for putting more cards in there.
And then like you could make
Or
some
even
really
the lane
weird
gets +2 power. You could also make it just if it's easier to code or whatever. Like the lane gets +2 power for each card with a unique cost or something like that.
Yes, actually, no. Having that as a condition, the lane gets, so at that point, if the lane gets +2 power for each card that's different, you make Miss Marvel a 5-2. Because then you could get +8 to both locations, so then she'd be a 5-18. I don't think you could do that at a 4 cost, make a 4-18 like that.
You know what I'm gonna say that I think is the best thing we could say about that? I think I don't think we're cooking anymore. I think we're baked, and we both buy a change to Miss Marvel because
Miss Marvel needs a
like
rework.
that.
What if we just rework Miss Marvel?
I will say I really like that idea, but also like I feel like if I look back at myself, maybe I'm not saying I am sober right now, but if I look back at know what your past self did, and you're like, you said that, really?
Yeah.
I'm scared of future me judging me right now. That's the only reason.
No, we don't know how to balance the game entirely, so we're just throwing out ideas. But Miss Marvel needs some sort of rework in a sense now, or even just a change we haven't really been thinking of. We haven't seen all the raw data to really get an idea, but this is a total buy on the idea that Miss Marvel is long overdue for a buff. Yes.
Speaking of other cards that are need for a buff, in the same message, all high Evo cards need to be reverted. Now, this is one that we've seen a couple of specific cards like in high Evo people have mentioned in these things, and I don't even know if we have any. We maybe are mentioning some here, but I don't think we are. Some people are mentioning individual cards in future messages or in other messages we didn't talk about here because high Evo definitely sucks right now. And all high Evo cards need to be all high Evo cards need to all be reverted. Now, all those changes, I'm gonna say every single one that we have. First one would be Wasp, going into cheapest card. Would be afflict 2 different cards here with -1 power.
Yeah.
Thing, I believe, is afflict -1 power to a different card, to a card here 3 times. So it's not different cards anymore. Hulk becomes ongoing. And is that actually it? Is it just those 3?
Hulk becomes ongoing. Abomination's the same. Haiva, of course, is the same. Shocker's the same. Cyclops still, I think,
Cyclops...
hit. Did Cyclops get changed at all with High Evo?
I want to say no. I'll pull it up, but what is it? I mean, I definitely think that High Evo needs a change. The one I've heard most of actually is Hulk, where he gets his ongoing back. The only reason I don't like that is because I feel like that just goes against it goes against Red Hulk, and I don't want Red Hulk getting buffed. And I like the fact that they are the same currently, just inverted abilities.
Yeah,
right?
But I'm gonna speak future talk again.
Okay,
this, of course, also we need to think prospectively, like, how does this work with, like you said, Red Hulk? Thunderbolt Ross also comes out next season, and whenever an opponent skips energy on a turn, you draw a 10-powered card. So it's another thing. Maybe you can do some of these changes to High Evo because, you know, like, we have cards coming out that kind of help balance that in a way. Mm-hmm. Also, was Hulk always +2 for unspent energy? Okay, but he kept,
just according to Snap.fan.
Okay.
Yes.
Red Hulk's the only one that got changed from the +3.
Yeah,
+4,
Red Hulk got
all
changed
that.
in terms of his actual like power levels or whatever. So, I mean, honestly, I feel like Wasp being a 0-3 was really good.
We don't need
like
that again. No.
I don't like the Wasp one. I do think Thing could go back. I think Thing could go back, and I don't like Red Hulk and Hulk not having the same, or Evil Hulk not having the same ability is the only reason I would like. So, bust, buff, bust, in my personal opinion, right? In terms of all those things.
The only thing that should get reverted would be the Thing. Yeah, so everything else is bust.
Right? I think Thing should definitely get reverted. I know Hulk isn't crazy, and I know that there are probably things that we would like to maybe see with him getting better, but I think that the Bruce Banner... I think I like Bruce Banner as a way to potentially not fix, but do something else with that as well.
I don't think Bruce Banner getting a buff. I mean, it can help High Evo. I think High Evo needs some just other changes overall anyways. Maybe even stuff like with the Shocker. Misty Knight still has been the exact same. We're totally cool with Misty with her.
I think Misty is fine, and I think Cyclops is fine.
Yeah.
Abomination is... Honestly, you can make the argument that Abomination should be a 5/10, but then that's a whole series issue. But yeah.
And that's a Shang-Chi another thing. Like, Abomination's okay to not be in the Shang-Chi range right now, but yeah.
Imagine the world where you can do Scar Affliction.
I mean, I've said in the past I want Abomination to be 10 power, but I don't hate it. But like, it's a serious change. Issue. Yeah. But moving on to our next one we have over here.
Wiccan needs a hit. Snap, Crackle, and Pop says on Twitter, his shell has been at the top of the metagame since early December. Recent OTA hasn't changed that. Even if it's only to reduce his play rate and usher in some other decks, I'd be happy with it. I think we both said that we're in favor of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a matter of exactly how they do it, right? There are some things that we've obviously said already before, and there are going to be some things that we haven't said before in this because y'all are going to say whatever's on your mind, and sometimes we have the same things on our minds. Crazy. I mean, I think this is true. I just think that Wiccan is one of the best cards in the meta right now. I just don't believe that... I don't believe that he should be existing the way that he does completely fine. As I just don't like that, personally.
Yeah, I think Wiccan just goes to a 4/5.
Yeah, 4/5. I've heard people say 4/6. I don't really care about the differences there.
I don't think he should be a 4/6, though. I think he needs to go 4/5.
I saw someone say this before, or someone told me that this was said in the Discord. People have done the math on Wiccan, on how good the value he is, or how much value he offers. Because initially when people saw him, they didn't think that the additional energy was going to be worth the cost of this card at a 4/5.
Mm-hmm.
But now people have actually done the math and had the chance to mess with the card. I think it's more than fair.
Yeah, I think 4/5 is fair. I think that's going to be a buy. Wiccan needs a nerf.
Also, is this one of the most popular cards right now? I know there's obviously going to be like tech cards and season pass cards, but I think it's a pretty popular card currently. It's got 12% popularity in the last week in Infinite gameplay.
And that's just him being played on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, There are more people.
And there are plenty of times where you don't get the curve.
Yep.
And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to I said before. It's like Mr. Negative.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you don't get the Mr. Negative combo together, it's fine. You're trying to do a whole combo heavy deck. I just feel like it's similar to that because Mr. Negative, wasn't he like a 4/4 originally, right? And they had to bring him way down.
I think the better comparison is like with Mr. Negative, there's a lot of instances where you can kind of still lose the game not having the combo more often than not than Wiccan. I think Phoenix Force and Wiccan are probably more comparable in a sense.
Yeah, it's a fair comparison. I like that. Yeah. Anyway,
which is also 4/5. So, but I just and then over to our next one we got over here from your homie Slay.
Slay over on Discord said, and this is one that I've heard many times. Galacta as a 4/6 that gives +3 on cards you choose is just too strong. It's essentially a 4/12 that can fit into most decks very well if brought out even a turn early or the game is extended 7 turns because it's a 4/15 with no real way to counter. This doesn't even include synergies with cards that benefit from additional power buffs like Brood, Sebastian Shaw also comes to mind. I've been seeing even Scarlet Spiders being played because of her.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really interesting one for me personally. I would like to hear what you think about Galacta first before I say my opinion.
So, like, if we're comparing 4-cost cards, like a Galacta, a Wiccan, a Anti-Venom, a Cold Obsidian, Mr. Negative kind of thing, like, at that 4/6 slot, like, your conditions, it has to be a different location. This card doesn't really feel as oppressive as maybe some of these other 4-cost cards I've seen. I'm not opposed to maybe her being like a 4/5 or a 4/4. I don't think her ability really needs to be changed because I don't find it as like, I don't know, like you still have to play it on other locations and like you can still account for that overall. Like it's the mind game there. I'm not very opposed to like Galacta even staying the way she is. But I can see where it can be just a real feels bad, with like a Brood and stuff. And like, that counter argument's like, oh, well, you have Shadow King. Oh, Shang-Chi exists kind of thing. But like.
That doesn't mean the card isn't good.
No.
People, if you're going to use the argument, well, either X or Y exists. Okay, cool. The card could still be good even if there are counters to it. It doesn't matter. Red Hulk was still broken. Blob was still broken. And guess what? Shang-Chi exists.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, this is one that I feel like I don't feel like I have enough information to have a better opinion on this. I get the feels bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like I just think it's a good card and I just don't know if it's broken good or not. Like honestly, I think the current season's cards, we'll probably talk about this more next week, are much more problematic.
Yes, because at least with this opposed to like the Iron Patriot and like a Victoria Hand, you kind of like know in a sense what's going to happen and you don't have to worry about like that unknown. Yes, there's not really a good way to counter Galacta opposed to those tech cards. So maybe if like you're looking for like something like a Red Guardian or if you like Juggernaut their card off of an adjacent lane and it goes back to the Galacta lane, that doesn't happen. But I feel like the meta kind of needs to shape out a little bit at the moment before maybe we target some of these other cards that are just like good cards, because not every good card is an OP card. Like the game has to have good cards.
That's a big difference, I think, and that's why I'm uncertain. Just because a card is good doesn't mean it should get like nerfed.
Yeah.
So, but then also that's part of the reason why I want more information here, because then I'm like, yes, I do think that that Galacta's good. I don't know if I think that she's too good.
Yeah, and I want to say first, like, we just talked about Wiccan, and Wiccan's a good card. But, like, there's a difference between a Wiccan and a Galacta with the way their abilities work. Having 2 extra energy is way different than having the next card you play getting +3 power. Like, that is, like, night and day kind of difference.
You can't compare cards very easily to each other.
You
can't say, like, oh, what is it? I can't believe y'all think that Symbiote Spider-Man was bad when we have Agent Venom who it's not. That's probably one of the worst comparisons you can make. I don't care. You have. There are a lot more things that come into effect when you talk about the differences between cards. You can't just say because one is good, this has to be as good.
Yeah,
it doesn't work. But yeah, so this is honestly an or. This is an or for me for saying buy or bust. I think this is an or.
But I like the conversation. Like I say, I think this is definitely something that like needs to be talked about. Mm-hmm. So
true. Yeah, very true. What do we got from Frankie?
I would love to see Toxin get a buff. Bounce move is good, but I wish normal bounce was good. Sigh. And I want to say,
okay,
buffing Toxin does not buff normal bounce. I think it's not Toxin that needs a change because Toxin is good as is. And I love that you love Toxin, but I don't think this is a card in normal bounce that would need to be changed.
I think you've said the card in bounce that should get changed before. If you want bounce to get buffed.
I
think you said Bishop.
Yes, I said Bishop. Bishop, if you want old school bounce back, you need to change Bishop. And thinking about it now, instead of making him a 3/3, right?
Okay. Yeah.
What if you make him like a 2/0 or a 2/1 and make him a 2-cost card?
He's very similar to Angela, but forms a different role.
Yes.
Yeah, I like a Bishop change. I don't have an answer for specifically that change, but I do think Bishop is the card in bounce. If you would like to talk about that, I think Bishop is the worst card inside of bounce because you do not want move bounce to get buffed.
Yes, no, you don't.
Because move bounce is very good in the top of the ladder, right? The top 10%, and not even ladder actually. Top like in infinite, it's only really great in like the top 10% of infinite.
Because you require so much brain. Freaking
it requires a lot of thinking to make sure you can pilot that deck well, but it is a very good deck.
Yes.
I just believe that if you would like to make sure move bounce is actually good, or doesn't get buffed by that change, I think that you should be focusing a lot more so on cards that are not in both decks. And so I personally am of the I'd love to see Toxin get a buff. Frankie Irony on Twitter, that's a bust. No,
please no.
No.
Now we have a card that everyone either really loves or really hates, and a good old Perry Manillo is here to talk about the Red Guardian.
Red Guardian, I pay 6k tokens to have him removed from the game so he can leave my vampire boys alone. Especially as I've been playing a lot of discard recently, I understand this. I get this sentiment. However, does he need to get nerfed? I kind of think I think Red Guardian could probably get a nerf. He's a very good card. He's a very good counter card. He does a lot of stuff to everything else. I think it's fine nerfing him, but I don't think you need to do a lot to him.
Make him a 3/2, call it a day.
I'd be fine with that. I don't think you can remove him from the game.
No, don't. He's a necessary evil.
Yeah. Has he shown up in? No, he's showed up in spot caches. Yeah, he was recent. Never mind. No, he's been in them. But yeah, I hit him with a point of power. Just kind of do the thing that they do where they hit a point of power. It doesn't actually change how good the card is. It'll just change how much people use the card. And at least it's a 3/4 amount of power you're doing. And you have to really focus on removing the text of said card.
Yeah, just a little smack on the wrist is all you need.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd be fine with that. I don't think you need to do much more there. Otherwise, I'm saying that now. Maybe stuff changes in the future. But I do think Red Guardian is a very fair shout.
Yeah, no, I understand the pain, and like he's literally everywhere right now because he's just that counter card to activate because there's no other counter to activate right now. So,
yeah, that's a big reason.
Yeah.
But yes. Okay. Who else we got? What else are we talking about? We got a lot of these. Nick Fury from Rud Bear Ray on Twitter. I don't know.
Or
My
rude.
guy has Rudeberry. Okay. My guy has been my guy has been untouched for far too long. Talking about Nick Fury. Nick Fury is a card that even with all the cards we have for generation stuff, he's just not crazy good. I don't know what they can do with this guy.
I mean, like, you can play Nick Fury in like your collector list, but like at the end of the day, you're playing something that's cheaper. And it's called Iron Patriot, and that's pretty much one of the main things. Of course, conditions are different. Maybe you change Nick Fury or give him some sort of other ability. I think the 6 cost he adds is like, I mean, it's cool fundamentally for, you know, like old school Arishem or whatever, but like, I don't know. There's cards that just don't have to be good in this game. And I know we pushed, you know, Rhino and we pushed White Queen earlier, but like Nick Fury kind of falls in the same context of either needing a complete rework or just let him be.
Yeah. I think that's where Nick Fury is. And he's one of the few season pass cards that we've actually had.
Yeah.
That has this opinion. I think we have this opinion on because it just doesn't. I think as more and more 6 cost cards get added, it's kind of similar to Hulkling, where the card just gets worse.
Yes.
Because when you first came out, the amount of 6 cost cards that were inside of Marvel Snap were very narrow. It was a very small pool of cards, and so every single time you used them, you were getting a value from it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah, no,
I do buy a change. I just don't know.
Buy a change, but this, I don't know. I'd bust buy. I'm still probably bust. Like, I don't really think this card needs anything right now. I think
that's fair.
Let White Queen get fixed first, please. We don't need Nick Fury fixed.
Honestly, I think that White Queen. I think between these two, I do agree. White Queen's probably a better candidate for getting changed.
Think of all the the variants for White Queen. Like, why can't we use this card?
It's so much. I wish. God.
But moving on to our next one over here, by Aereo, we have M'Baku.
Yeah.
And M'Baku tries to win you the game when he jumps. Otherwise, lower power location.
So, I got really annoyed with M'Baku recently. I was playing M'Baku, a deck that had Captain Marvel in it.
Which goes off first?
Captain Marvel. Didn't like that. I got really annoyed with this card. Because what is it? Or wait, no. Was it M'Baku first? God, I don't remember. There was one there. I don't remember the order. I disliked it because I think it was Captain Marvel first, because actually if M'Baku had jumped out first and then Captain Marvel had like gone to his location, I would have won the game. But instead,
interesting.
Instead, Captain Marvel happens after.
Yeah.
Or sorry, before. And so I lost because she didn't see any way to win. So if I'm down for a M'Baku change, but honestly, I'd like it if he was the last thing that happened.
Change the order of which end of game events happen.
If maybe not,
Just
he's
for
one of the first ones that happens, right?
Okay.
Like I want that to happen there because I want to see. I'm just annoyed about that one interaction. So I'm gonna be honest, Tucker. I'm blinded by anger. What do you feel?
I'm not opposed to it jumping to a location to try and win you the game. I just feel like we already have a card that does that. But I don't know, as a 1 cost, that's a pretty crazy condition, potentially. I don't know. I would have to just see more people play M'Baku for it, which is the other thing, too. Not a lot of people.
Yeah, that's fair.
It just is a major feels bad when Arishem just gets that random M'Baku that wins the game. But that's just
There's a reason why when I was playing Arishem, I put M'Baku in my deck.
Yeah.
Because it was in, and that was when he could still generate multiple copies. So then most of the time, I just had an extra 2 power on the board by the end of the game that my opponent couldn't know about till it was too late.
Yeah, I mean, Aereo, I'm on this one. I don't buy it or bust it. It's just, but I like that this is like creative. I really like.
Yeah.
I think this is a great idea. What about you, Dance?
I'm fine with this idea. I also really want the order change because I'm blinded by. I'm so upset about that one, Tucker. You have no idea how angry I am. I actually think I was playing a deck that Aereo recommended.
Probably
anyway,
Aereo loves M'Baku.
Yeah, there you go. That's. I'm angry at M'Baku, but not because second dinner made him worse for me.
But now we have one of our craziest changes for our last change over here from the good old Cheese Butt 69.
Anti-Venom turns your top card into a 0/0 symbiote with the same ability in order to stop the Luke Cage synergy. This is a really awesome ability.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't look at flavor. Because Anti-Venom, doesn't he kill the symbiote? That's literally the point of him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I dislike about this. But if we go past the flavor a little bit, all right, Blob no longer is immovable. I think this is a really cool idea. I love it.
Yeah, so it's like the pig interaction, but if like the pig kept its ability kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun. That's a solid. I mean, I think this is a really good one because again, I've said before that it's also does something similar to what we talked about before with Luke Cage stopping that synergy, and I think that's a really good shout.
Yeah, no, I think this is very, very fun. I'd be really interested to see how this works because it turning into a symbiote, the reason it doesn't work with Luke Cage because it's not one of your cards because it's a token. Is that how it works? Or
Yes-ish?
Okay, I would have to understand the flavor text a little bit more.
Because because the symbiote's base power.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, its base cost is 4.
Yes.
Base power is 0.
Yeah.
So you could get screwed over by Mobius.
Mm-hmm.
Still.
But that's still like a good counter. Yeah. No.
Yeah. What is it? So I mean, I still like this. I think this is cool. I love the idea of this changed Anti-Venom. Strictly from a balance perspective, it does deeply bother me from a lore perspective.
Yeah, and then like even if you Shadow King the symbiote, like it's still gonna have 0 power.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really just makes it so like it does not gonna do it. It's not gonna do anything else. That's it.
You're like kind of more forced to play it with like an ongoing card opposed to like just
cheating it out and getting every value out of it. Yeah.
This would be very interesting. It's a big nerf to Anti-Venom. Like it really is because of that interaction with Luke Cage. So if they don't change Luke Cage, maybe I could see this. Where if they do the change with Luke Cage that Justin was talking about, then you probably wouldn't have to do this with Anti-Venom.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but on this, oh god, this is a really cool ability, and as much as I really like this, I think I shouldn't say I'm bust on this.
Yeah. It obliterates Anti-Venom, but I love the concept we came up with.
Yeah. It's so wild, Tucker. We talked about this one and we were like, this is such a cool ability. And then now we're looking at this, we're kind of thinking it through more, and we're like, is this buy or bust for you?
This is a bust for me.
Yeah, this is. I'm surprised that we're actually both busting on this. I didn't expect that. What do y'all think about these? Let us know in the comments down below. There's a lot of really cool ideas here. We talked about a lot of them. We wanted to focus on the community's. Stop it! I just realized what I said. It's really cool to hear from y'all what you guys would like to do, and we'll try to revisit this again in the future. Not gonna be for a bit, but this was a really fun idea to mess with, trying to see what these cards could do in these alternate universes. Especially imagine, if we wanted to segue to the next topic, what if we wanted to imagine a universe where these cards never got OTA'd from their either previously broken or previously garbage abilities?
Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit interesting over here. I'm going to start us off with an absolute freaking banger with good old Loki, where it's like if Loki was in a place now, which it could be, like, I don't know. I don't like the Loki interaction with Collector was horrible when it first started because everyone was running Loki. The mirror matches were just horrible. Quinjet also, making it with Loki, so your cards were super cheap and everything too was just major feels bad. Like I wonder if there's a world where you could revert Loki and if it just didn't interact with the Collector and Quinjet again, if Loki would actually be viable. And I think maybe that's the case because I still liked looking at it now, like the style of the archetype was very oppressive and very feels bad, but I still knew kind of what my opponent might potentially have, opposed to just Airshim being just randomly generated stuff, you know?
Yeah. No, that's fair.
It's weird, like, cause I don't want to go back to a Loki meta because it felt horrible and everything too. But like, I did not, or still don't, hate Loki as much as I hate Airshim.
I think that this is a card that I think you're looking with rose-tinted glasses.
Yes.
Because when I think about this card, I don't think about the fun times. I don't.
Yeah.
It was just like.
Yeah.
It was just like one of the better decks to play, and it didn't encourage a lot of synergy and creative stuff there. It was just like, okay, cool, play the card generators and then just profit.
Mm-hmm.
So
with Victoria Hand now, it would be even crazier too.
Oh my god. Yeah, Victoria Hand would be busted. What is it? And there's a reason why they nerfed this card before Kate Bishop came out.
Yeah. They knew.
They did know. They did know. I think they even said that in the announcement when they first nerfed Loki. They're like, we have cards in the future that Loki just becomes the best thing with, and this is just.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. I don't want this card back. I don't think that this would be. I just don't think this is going to be it would be a fun place for the meta to exist at.
Mm-hmm.
But. What is it? But as I'm looking through stuff, Tucker, I kind of want leader back, Tucker.
Like literally OG leaders, what we're saying here, right?
Oh yeah, OG leader. What is it? So if and also I'll say it at least this time. If y'all don't know exactly what OG leader did, copy all cards your opponent played this turn, but on your side of the board.
Old Sandman leader combo was. Oh my goodness.
It was okay. I know it was bad, but I think we're in such a like the meta doesn't play. We're not typically playing just like one big card on the final turn. We're we're in such a combo heavy meta.
Yeah.
That it'd be cool. Maybe it's busted, but it'd be cool to see leader just profit off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a lot more interesting than what we currently have here.
It would be interesting to see because the way Sandman is now, it's not as oppressive, of course. I mean, leader still was a major feels bad. It's like, oh, you just don't know how to play the game, so you're just playing leader. You're just copping out over here.
Yeah.
But it would be just very interesting to see it. I'm not sure if I fully support it. This is why we're doing this segment because, you know, some of these changes are really good that they've made in the past that we're looking at now. Like, oh, yeah, that's actually really
they were
solid.
probably good changes.
They
probably
ideas.
were. But I kind of
this is better. This is better than the Loki coming back. Definitely. But
that's I think we're gonna have a lot of that when we talk about these.
Yeah.
Where it's gonna be like yeah, but
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay. What do you want then? What do you want?
If you know me, you know.
Oh my gosh, no.
That old Shuri with, I mean, Shadow King really wasn't good back then when Shuri was running rampant. Yes, there was still Shang-Chi. Taskmaster was a 5 cost.
So Shuri's original ability was double the power of the next card you play.
Yep.
God. I see why you want this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so scared of that, Tucker. I'm so scared of this card. I mean, here's the thing. It could bring back like the style of deck, the Shuri deck that really hasn't been played in a while. So maybe it's fine. But also, oh my God, this brings back, Galactus. 6/12 Galactus.
Yeah, but like you can still set up for, you know, going
playing
into
12 power into a lane that you're not currently winning.
You play Shang-Chi, right?
You're right. Card is fine because counter exists.
Cards, you know, Clog's still relevant right now. Like, there's ways to get to 12 power right now.
Yeah, there are. This is one that I don't know if I can support. I don't know if I can support this one.
It's the leader argument.
I think it is. It is the leader argument. But I think I might have the first one that we're going to say is one that we want back.
Okay.
That we might agree on. 16 power destroyer should destroy all cards.
Destroy all cards?
Yeah, that's what he used to do. He destroyed all your cards.
Yeah, I would
Sorry,
not
all
be
your
a...
cards.
Wait,
I get it why they did the other locations.
Wasn't he 15?
He was 16.
He was
At one point he was 15. They buffed him to 16. I'm saying bring him back to the 6-16. Destroy all your cards.
I think that's better for this card's life. Yeah.
I think
I don't hate it.
I get it. The card isn't really probably great either way, but I think it does straight up more with that.
Yes. I like it.
I think it's just a better place for the card to exist. Just makes it cleaner. I just think that's better for.
Yeah.
I think it's just better in general.
I'm not opposed to a destroyer change. Okay.
Yeah. All right. First one that we agree on. I'll take it.
What if
Oh no.
we bring back old Arrow?
5'10" Arrow, or what was? So she was a 5. I want to say she was a 5'8". That was it. Moved all cards that you played this turn, or
all cards your opponent last played. Or
yeah. So move all enemy cards played this turn to this location.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was a 5. So it was 5'7", 5'6", 5'8". It had all those at that. Which one where do you want this card to exist at?
5'8".
God, no. Oh my gosh. I know I'm saying no when I was also talking about leader before, but I also think it's just different. I think it's just entirely different.
Well, the meta's in a much healthier place now for this to be able to come
Scream
back.
just got nerfed. I don't want her, and she uses this card.
Well, Scream only gets one card. Even if your opponent played 3 cards, Scream only hits one.
Kingpin is still there? No.
Kingpin. You're playing this on turn 6, so Kingpin doesn't affect cards that are unrevealed.
Kingpin you play earlier.
Yeah, but but if you have priority, you can't do anything with this card because unrevealed cards don't get afflicted by Kingpin or Scream.
So you're saying this moves the unrevealed cards from this turn?
Yeah, can be revealed or unrevealed. Yeah,
I forgot about that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No, you could totally could.
Oh my gosh.
We're definitely in a healthy spot where you could bring back Arrow.
I think we're on copium during this, and I'm loving it. I think we're on so much copium, and I'm absolutely here for it, Tucker.
Bring it back.
I have one last one. I don't know how many more you have. But I want Devil Dinosaur to get brought back. Especially considering the season, we're having so much hand generation, so much card generation. This card still sucks.
And are you talking about the OG cost and everything?
Not OG 3 cost. 4 cost.
I was about to be like 3.
It was a 4/0.
No way.
4/0 Devil Dinosaur. Same ability.
Mr. Negative starts using Devil Dino. Ravona starts using
No, because you want to dump your hand. Ravona maybe, but you want to dump your hand out. And Devil Dino, it wouldn't work for Mr. Negative. It could work for Ravona, but guess what? Devil Dino hasn't been played since this art came out, Tucker. This art came out, I think, in like the 4th season of Marvel's Happening Public, and I think that's the last time this card was good.
Dino Hawk was great.
Remember? Yeah, that was really great.
I wouldn't be opposed to it being a 4 cost. Zabu with Devil Dino would be cool. Yeah, sure.
Maybe it
4/0. I like 4/0. I like 4/0.
I just don't think it have power. And I think you just need it. Unless you do something crazy where it's like a 6 cost where it gets +3, or like a 5/0 +3 for some. You can't do that. Like, unless you do something dumb like that, I don't think the card can exist.
No, I like him at a 5/5 or like a 4/0.
Yeah. Gosh, I can't. Okay. Also, my contact's falling out. So you want to hit me with your last one?
All right. So, my last one.
Oh, of course, Black Knight.
No,
so you want the card to, you want the Ebony Blade to have no ability whenever it's generated. Okay, fair.
I was joking.
Yep, right. Revert.
I was joking.
Sorry.
That would have been funny though.
Shadow King revert back to a 4/4.
No, please do not revert back Shadow King. Let me think.
If you want one last one, we can end off on maybe. That other people have said, and I know they said it. I think inside of our OTA stuff, and we just didn't talk about it. Ooh, no, okay. Copycat going back to Steel.
Yes.
Ah, that's interesting. With Devil Dino being, or not, with Darkhawk being pretty much like non-existent in the meta right now, I wonder if that is actually okay. I don't have an answer here. This is not one that I can say.
I think this being Steel. I think, did I have one more? I think I maybe.
I was going to say if you wanted to, if you go up a little bit. Right, barely seen in the top of the middle of what we can talk about right here. Storm.
No.
This is one I've heard people talk about.
Yes, I've heard people talk about it, but no.
Yeah.
No, definitely not Storm. Is there a world where you make Adam a 2-2 or a 2-0
or 2-2? That'd be fun. I'm down.
Adam 2-2, 2-0. Make Black Bolt a 5-8 again. You revert Lady Deathstrike, so whatever power she has, if it has less power than her, she destroys those cards. Yeah, revert Lady Deathstrike.
That's interesting.
Back to, what was she, 5-4, 5-3?
I think so, yeah.
And then you could buff Lady Deathstrike and just obliterate lanes.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Oh my gosh. Especially with Galacta too. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Yes. And then we have our final segment of the Yap today. We're going to be talking about Ares, which is the brand new card releasing today, which is a 4/6 on reveal. Compare the power of the top 3 cards of both decks, your deck and your opponent's deck. If your total is higher, +6 power.
I mean, with this feels so good. I don't get why this is such a good card. This feels amazing.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, this feels like I think Victoria Hand and Iron Patriot have been busted this season.
Yes.
But now we have this. Mm-hmm. And this is just an insane card. I don't see how this could not be amazing.
Maybe it is more niche, but like for what it does, this is a really solid card. You just deck build around it kind of thing. Like Wiccan 4/7. You build around it to meet the conditions in order to get the extra energy. This here, you build around this card in order to get that +6 power. It's just simple as that.
And you know what one of the best decks right now, Tucker, are in the meta?
What?
It's Mill.
Yeah. And
I think you've got something with that, right?
Yeah, going off that, we have Forced Surrender over here. Because this may not be a cube stealer, but I think your opponents will be retreating while you're playing this list. Of course, you could have Shang-Chi in this list as well as just another way to destroy cards, since you are using Fenris Wolf as well to potentially resurrect cards. But you have Gladiator, you have your Zemo. Those are 2 mill cards. Yondu mill card, Cable mill card, Killmonger to obliterate their side of the board. You also are running the Hood. And you're running Misery, which Misery is also in Spotlights this week as well. So it's a deck list you could use with Ares and Misery at the same time.
This guy. He's so smart.
So you're also having a lot of destroy enablers with, the Killmonger, Gladiator, Misery, which allows you to be able to get death value as well. You're using magic to extend the game too. And of course, you have some power heavy cards here. When you have your Gladiator, you have Misery, Red Hulk, and Death. The Hood is one of probably the potential counters you could have to the synergy with Ares here, because that -3 power it's one of the top cards you're going to draw, of course, takes away from you having that advantage. But if your opponent doesn't have any cards in their deck, Ares just is going to get that +6 anyways, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's fine. I think that one is probably the most, that's the worst card here, but also I think your whole point here, right, is just to go through their deck and that's one of the things you're going to be able to do with Ares. You either make it so that whatever they have left in their deck is garbage, or your cards are going to be something better. And I think this is just a great way to just remove their cards. I think this is going to be hopefully. I think it's just a really solid idea. I don't see a world where this isn't. I think the misery mill list has already been going around, and it's already really good. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, I'm scared for the future. This is another great card.
If mill's good, it's really scary because like it's not a fun deck to play against. It's fun to play, but it's like if you're facing mill all the time, it's just like, bro, I can't literally do any of the combos I want to do because I have no cards.
Yeah, no. This is gonna be a great place. I think this deck is gonna be a really solid place for it. And I think I'm gonna segue into my own idea here because again, like in case it's not obvious, and we've said it this whole month, we're trying to build where we think this card will exist in a month or two, and we're trying to make these guesses, trying to build and actually think it through of why we think or where we think this card is going to be. And I think we were already wrong about last week, but
yes.
If we look in the future, I think this is probably one of the best places, as well as going into a Scar list. I think these two places are probably going to be one of the best ideas for it. I just think, in general, you have an incredible amount of value with a Scar list as well. That just the more big cards you can put in your deck, the better value you can get. And what is it? On one hand, your opponent has no cards left, so you win the Ares flip. On the other hand, you have 30 power in the top 3 cards of your deck.
Yep.
So I think this is the other direction I could see Ares going. He could also just be a good card that goes into lists. You're just like, I don't care. But if you're building a deck where you're wanting to use Ares, I think this is another option for him.
Yeah, no, I think this is another solid option. I had Typhoid Mary in a Scar list as well, but I had Luke Cage because like the -2 affliction.
I was going to ask about that because I haven't messed with. I know you've been doing a lot more Big Dumb Idiots than I have. I was going to ask. So do you not think Typhoid Mary, or do you need the Lucas? Because I loved the White Widow, Red Guardian stuff there as well with the armor, because it gives you a nice energy. And I love the White Widow, armor, Red Guardian trifecta.
Yeah.
I've put that in a couple of decks, and it just always feels so nice. And especially with a deck that is so easily Shang-Chi-able. It was one that I wanted to do as well. But then Typhoid Mary did become a bit of a question mark. So if you were running this, would you probably sub Typhoid Mary, or what does that look like for you? Because I'm asking for your full opinion here, because I'm not as familiar with Big Dumb Idiots.
I would probably sub Typhoid Mary for either another 1-drop like a Hydra Bob, or I would swap out like Crossbones for like a Luke Cage. I think the curve is just a little tough here if you don't have Zabu in order to get everything out. I still think like it'll get you your Ares value for sure. But if you're not getting the Ares value, you don't get Zabu. It's really tough to be able to play everything out maybe the way that you like want to play it.
No, that's fair. I like the logic. Yeah, I don't have an easy answer there. I can see the logic of just Typhoid Mary being gone. Also, I wonder if it's like an arrow thing instead then.
Yeah, arrow is the other shout I had, like having a 5 cost in there.
Yeah, but also like you said, actually, I'm looking at this even more, and yeah, you would probably want some more benefit for the Cull Obsidian.
Yeah.
The Hydra Bob could be nice. Or
Nico.
honestly, the Hood again. Or Nico.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one of those instead of Typhoid Mary. I wanted to go heavier power, but I think you're correct that it just becomes too narrow if you don't get that correctly.
Yeah.
That's
but
an interesting one.
Yeah, that's going to be Ares. We got all these lists coming out for you. These are going to be down in the description below. You know what else is going to be down in the description below? All of the links to Dance's socials and his Discord, where you guys can feel free to ask us questions as well. If you guys are not following Dance on his Twitch, twitch.tv/notmydance, youtube.com/@notmydance, twitter.com/x.com/notmydance. All of those will be down in the description below, and all these beautiful thumbnails you're seeing on all these videos as well are by Not My Dance. Absolutely fantastic content creator and designer, graphic designer. So definitely follow my boy, maybe even hit him up. But yeah.
I don't know why you're saying that when instead of going, any of my places, they could be They're already here, Tucker. Tucker, you have them in the palm of your hand. They're watching this video right now. Maybe they're listening, but if they're watching this video right now, Tucker, they already see your gorgeous face. They're here. Just hit that subscribe button. It's as simple as that. Yeah, it's all you got to do. You can follow him to see some amazing Marvel Snap content. In addition to the fact that he's one of the best Marvel Rivals players I've ever seen. He's actually just insane and goated at the game. So please follow. Make sure you're subbed over here. You're going to see all that good stuff. You're also, if you go over to his Twitch, twitch.tv/TUCCRR, you're going to see everything over there. You're going to see everything. He's going to be reposting amazing stuff over on Twitter or X. Maybe eventually he'll get to Blue Sky. I think he still posts stuff on TikTok. I've never been on there. Follow him everywhere. Go check for me. Could you let me know? Could you check for me? Go to his TikTok right now if you don't mind, and then just verify that it works. Hit the follow button, whatever you have to hit over there to make sure it's okay. Because I know it was down for a bit, so we just gotta do a wellness check on his TikTok for me. I'd appreciate that personally.
And thank you guys so much, all you beautiful audio listeners as well, which those audio platforms will be down in the description below. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. And, of course, you guys are potentially just watching us here on YouTube. But we appreciate you guys. Until the next time, you guys have a great week. If you guys are playing any Infinity Conquest, hope you get those borders. Compensation should probably be hitting this week. OTA on Thursday. Maybe some of your OTA predictions are correct. Let us know down below if you guys agree with any of these takes that we had. If you guys have any additional takes or any questions for us, we will be doing some mailbag questions here going forward in some of these yaps. So if you guys want to learn anything, ask us any questions, just let us know. Until next time, you guys have a good one, and laters.